Bonjour everyone and welcome back to my channel The Waves of Your Soul. Today's video is going to be something very lighthearted, very fun, and we're just going to be discussing new Tarot and Oracle releases for end of October and the rest of November. That's kind of what I've picked. I did a similar video about a month ago. I don't really have any friends who are super into Tarot and Oracle as much as I am. I just wanted to find a way where I could exchange with people who share similar passion about the new upcoming decks, what are our thoughts. That's why I did that video back then, and a lot of you seem to have enjoyed it. And I wanted to reiterate the experience, but this time I wanted to do it in an even more fun way, and so we're going to be playing Tarot Bingo. So this concept is absolutely inspired by some makeup channels that I absolutely love watching. The content creators also talk about new makeup releases, but they do it in a very fun bingo style, and they call it new makeup nonsense bingo. The creator that I mostly watch who does that for a makeup channel is Teresa is Dead. I will leave the link to her channel below. If you like makeup but you like to watch makeup videos that are gonna be very fun, someone who's gonna tell you like it is, super entertaining to watch and gives very honest, real reviews, then definitely check out Teresa's channel. I really love her content. I've been watching her for a while. Along with other YouTubers, she does this new makeup nonsense bingo, which totally inspired me. So what we're gonna do is be reviewing all the new releases from Tarot and Oracle decks, mostly mass market publisher because I'm quite slow at editing, so at least this way I know you're not gonna miss out on anything. I do have a couple of indie releases I want to mention, but we're gonna talk through those releases by playing bingo using this very grid that I created right here. Now, just as I was ready to sit down to film this video and I was finalizing my grid, checking out on Teresa's Dead channel how many boxes they had. So on my page that I was recommended, because I watch a lot of the bingo makeup videos and because I watch a lot of tarot videos, a video from Katey Flowers from a year ago, and I literally just checked and she did a video based on a similar concept where she was also inspired by Teresa is Dead, so that's awesome. We obviously have similar taste in watching content, so I'll also put the link to Katey Flowers video down there. We're not using the same bingo grid because obviously I created my own before seeing Katey's video, but I did wanted to mention it, and checking Katey's grid that she created in her own video, it seems like we have quite a few similar categories even though they're not necessarily formulated the same, and that's quite funny. It definitely shows that they are a recurring theme in the tarot world. I just thought that was pretty cool that we had the same idea. And of course, if you're not watching Katey Flowers, I'm sure most of you are, I mean her channel is amazing, but if you're not, post really amazing videos around her tarot journey, sharing how she uses a deck throughout the month, talking a lot about things that are very important to me, such as mental health and all of that, so definitely check out her channel if you haven't yet. So before I get into it, I just want to say that this bingo grid is a prototype. I very welcome comments below, like, you know, we can work through this. I just decided to choose themes that felt like recurrent in the tarot world and oracle world, also trying to make it super fun. Definitely not a serious video. If you're about to come in the keyboard and say you haven't seen the decks, you can't comment on them, no. I have not seen the decks because we're literally just looking at what Amazon, Book Depository or websites are giving us, just making our very light-hearted, like, shallow opinions about Tarot and Oracle decks, whether we're going to be picking them up, what we think of them, etc. I wasn't sure if it was going to be interesting for everyone, but if you have a Tarot YouTube channel, you want to join the fun and play bingo as well, then let me know in the comments and I will very happily leave the grid I created. If it is your first time watching, hello, my name is Marine. I am a French tarot reader, if you couldn't have told by then with a very heavy accent. Love everything tarot, oracle and self-empowerment related. I post videos such as this one where I talk about tarot and oracle decks. I also love posting tarot readings, pick a card readings that are all based around self-empowerment, like helping you help yourself. That's very much how I view tarot. So if you'd like to see any more of the things on your timeline, make sure to join the tide and subscribe because I upload every single week and I would love to have you. First release I wanted to talk about is actually the Mystical Medleys, a vintage cartoon tarot by Modern Tarot Library, which I believe is actually part of Liminal 11. I think technically they are an indie publisher, but are they considered mass market? I'm not sure. They're a smaller house and most of their tarot decks are very beautifully produced. So the one I do have from them is the Modern Witch Tarot, which is beautiful, but they've released recently quite a few, like the Luna and Soul, I think, which looks really cool. There was one that we talked in my previous tarot releases video that was around plants, and the one that they are releasing soon is called Mystical Medleys. That quite a few tarot YouTubers have received this deck in PR, and I've looked at a couple of their preview videos, like review videos, walkthrough, and etc. Even though the concept looks quite interesting, I just don't really resonate with it personally, because this type of cartoons was not really the type of cartoons that I enjoyed as a child. It feels very Betty Boop, and it feels very like, you know, quite fun and light-hearted, etc. But that specific imagery is just not really for me. I preferred either like more Japanese style anime when I was younger, or I was more into like Disney, right? And this is neither nor. Neither nor? Is that even English? I don't know. However, I am sure that there's gonna be a ton of people who are into that kind of art style, especially if it resonates with them. It could be a fun deck to get for like inner child work or reading where you just want to get something that's quite fun, that's quite light-hearted, that's not too serious. Maybe even something you could use with like younger audience, because looking at the death card, it doesn't actually look that threatening. It looks very cartoonish and funny. So for me, it's gonna be an easy pass. I don't resonate with it, but for the purpose of our bingo game, I'm gonna put this in a fandom deck, pop culture inspired deck, because that's what it is, right? Vintage cartoon inspired, feels very pop culture inspired, and so this is what we're gonna put it at. So let's move on to the next release, which actually came out, I think, end of October, mid-October. It's very recent. It is the Cosmo Tarot, the ultimate deck and guidebook, and this is by the magazine Cosmopolitan. Oh boy, do I have things to say about this. So when I first saw this, I thought it said the Cosmos Tarot, and I was like, oh, this sounds quite cool, right? The Cosmos Tarot, it's gonna be about something cosmic, the planets, the stars, something like that. We usually, you know, have those kind of astro vibes sometimes incorporated in tarot, so I was like, maybe that's gonna be a cool, like, cosmic vibes. And then I clicked on it, and I was like, oh no, it's the Cosmo Tarot. And that's when I realized it was created by the Cosmopolitan magazine. Now, first off, we're seeing a lot of non-tarot related or non-oracle related publishers, creators, companies starting to release tarot and oracle deck. I guess this is part of like the tarot and oracle deck boom. I mean, on top of my head, I remember the BuzzFeed oracle cards that came out. Already that was like, no, I don't think so. But now we're having the Cosmo Tarot. Who asked for this? Honestly, I'm confused. I am so confused. Maybe Cosmopolitan, I was gonna give you some kind of like, you know, I was ready to give you the benefit of the doubt. Honestly, I really want. But then I clicked on the artwork and I was like, just what the fuck is going on here? It makes no sense. Okay, this is very collage style. It could feel very like modern Insta aesthetic, you know, that kind of like, we love a collage art deck. Like, don't get me wrong, I have a few collage style that I love, like the Uncommon Tarot on top of my head, love that. The problem is when we have a collage deck that looks like it projects like when you were young and you had to go through your mom's magazines to make some kind of like art piece for school. Look at the Hermit. It's literally someone's face that it looks like they took from some fashion photo shoot, and they put some clouds on it and then a big ass star. The Hermit's head is in the cloud and they're confused. And guess what, Cosmopolitan? I'm confused too. I don't know what the F I'm looking at. Let's move on to the Lovers. We have 3 pair of lips. What are those lips doing here? Is this some leftover that you had from a lipstick beauty shoot? What are you trying to tell me? If someone is trying to learn tarot, which I feel like this is what this release is about, it's probably trying to bring tarot to the masses, like for people who are not into tarot but people who read Cosmopolitan, they are gonna try to branch out to those. But if you're new to tarot and you're picking this up, I don't know about the guidebook. Listen, the guidebook might be very well written, because the guidebook looks like it's written from someone who is quite, you know, prolific in the tarot world, or they've released books before, or I'm not sure. It seems like they're a known writer. But the artwork makes no sense if you're a beginner. You're seeing the Lovers and you see 3 pair of lips and you're like, am I supposed to decide what kind of lipstick I'm gonna wear today? This is just a big no for me. I'm really not understanding who this is for, because if it's for people who don't know tarot, then we're gonna need more than just a person's head in the cloud and 3 pair of lips. The death card looks like someone is crying crystals. If it is your style, absolutely go for it. This is a judgment-free zone. I'm just giving you my opinion. For me, this was an easy pass. Honestly, I saw it and I was like, not today, Satan. So this is a category we're gonna be putting it under, and let's move on. Next up, we have the Labyrinth Taradec and Guidebook Movie Taradec by Minerva Siegel, and I think this has been very recently released. It was postponed, so for anyone who wants it, you can finally get it. I have already talked about another Minerva Siegel deck that in my previous tarot releases video where we didn't play bingo, but it was still fun, so you know, you can check that out if you want to, based on Disney. And now it's the Labyrinth, which apparently is a movie, which, let's be completely transparent, I never watched in my life. I didn't even know what it was until I saw a lot of like tarot YouTubers, other fellow tarot content creators, etc. talk about it. So maybe I'm lacking culture here, obviously, you know, I'm lacking something. But I honestly never even heard of this movie or watched it before, so all I will say is that I have very big suspicions now when it comes to Minerva Siegel decks, because they seem to get their hands on so many licenses and they seem to be pumping out decks very, very quickly. Like they have done the Nightmare Before Christmas, the Alice deck, they have done the Disney Villains, the Labyrinth. Now I saw that they're actually doing the Hocus Pocus for next year, so you know, already that's gonna be another franchise ruined. We're so happy to see that, unless they're actually listening to us. And you know, why I say it's gonna be another franchise ruined is because with those kind of decks, the majors are always really pretty, really well done, and then you get to the minors and they usually feel rushed. They are not very illustrated, they're very pepish, and it's been the case now for a few decks. One of them, the Nightmare Before Christmas, I bought before knowing what it was looking like, because I was a fan of the Nightmare Before Christmas, and I know that some people said the same thing about the more recent releases that happened, and so now I'm just like very dubious and very suspicious. And why I'm even more suspicious about this deck is that, again, in the Amazon preview, we only see majors. We have beautiful majors from what I believe is from the movie The Labyrinth. They look really cool, don't get me wrong, I guess it's some kind of like fantasy world. They look really great, but no minors, and that for me is a huge red flag. Like the minors are gonna be, again, very rushed, not so much thought through, maybe pipish. And there's nothing wrong with a pip deck, don't get me wrong, I like a pip deck, but just warn me, like tell me what I'm gonna get. Because a tarot deck is 78 cards. There's like major arcana, but the majority of the cards are from the minors, so I need to know what I'm getting before I buy it. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with pips, but I want to be prepared. I want to know what I'm getting. And I feel like most of the people who are going to buy this are similar than me. Like, you want to know what you're going to get, right? I feel like this is going to be another cash grab. Sorry, I'm just going to say, till I can actually see a deck that's been released, that's been literally worked on the same throughout the whole card, then I will actually believe and change my mind. For now, I don't have faith. So for me, I'm gonna put that in the category potential cash grab, and that's how it is. Okay, next up we have by Ashwani Dubari and Connie Curie. I'm sorry if I butchered those names. We have the Sacred Sisterhood Taradec deck and guidebook for fierce women. So I think this is been released very recently, end of October I believe, or mid-October, to be a tarot box set with a quite large book from what it looks like, and of course 78 cards. So this looks quite interesting actually. I think that first thing that drew me in was the fact that all of the majors are in French, and even the court card seems to be in French. So I'm guessing that this is inspired from Tarot de Marseille. Maybe they wanted to give it that vibe. However, when I look at the minors, the Five of Pentacles is looking very RWS inspired. So I think what's happening here is that they are probably following the RWS. From what I'm seeing the images, it seems to be more RWS inspired, but the names are in French, maybe because it's linked to those more traditional, you know, traditional Tarot de Marseille. So that's an interesting choice. I've never seen that done before, where it's like an RWS but with French names, apart from translation of RWS text in French, if that makes any sense. I like this concept of deck for fierce women. I mean, this is cool, you know, girl power. Like they have pomegranates on the back and they look beautiful. I'm a huge fan of Persephone, so anything with pomegranate, I'm like, sign me up. It looks like already from the few images in the cards, I'm seeing some ethnicity diversity, I'm seeing age diversity, so I'm liking what I'm seeing. Obviously I haven't seen the whole deck, but from the very few snippets we have, not everyone looks the same, which is great, especially for a modern deck. Something now 2021 coming, you know, mass market, something that's supposed to be tailored for fierce women. Then we want to see fierce women from all ages, all body types, all ethnicity. You know, we want to see fierce women from everywhere. So this could be a wishlist candidate for me. I'm definitely keeping my eye out for this one. I'm gonna have to watch some reviews, walkthrough, etc. I am not taking the chance to get something to order all the way here where I live, which is literally a rock in the middle of the Indian Ocean, not knowing if I'm gonna like it or not. I can't live that kind of life. I'm very jealous of people who, you know, you can get Amazon in one day, and so even if you don't like a deck, you can get it, you can have a look, and then you can send it back. Amazon doesn't even deliver where I live, so I'd have to use Book Depository, or I'd have to use my lovely deck mules, which are my friend living in Europe, and then by the time they get it and then send it to me, there's no way I could ever return something. I'm not taking in that kind of risk. If I order a deck, I need to be 100% sure I'm gonna like it and I'm gonna use it. So this one, I need to see walkthroughs, I need to see reviews, so I'm gonna definitely check out for anyone who reviews this deck and see what they think, seeing all the cards, etc. But from the preview, I'm liking this, is what I'm seeing. I think it looks quite interesting. Of course, I'm liking the French titles, like maybe I'm biased here, but hello, or should I say bonjour? You know, this is my jam. This for me, I'm gonna put it in wishlist candidate, and let's move on to our next release, which is an oracle deck called Mystic Martian Oracle, 40 full colors cards and 128 page book by Lisa Porter. Now this I thought was really fun and very different. I don't think I've ever seen an oracle deck based around aliens. I've definitely seen an oracle deck based around star seeds and, you know, Taradec inspired by Cosmos, and not, you know, Cosmo Tarot, actual Cosmos. I know there's an older UFO tarot by Los Carabeo, which I think is now out of print, and I think there's also more of an indie deck, tarot deck I've seen somewhere on Etsy that was inspired by aliens, but I can't really remember by the top of my head, so I don't want to talk shit. But this one definitely, it's unique, right? I've never seen a Martian oracle. So already I was like, points for originality, with super colorful, it looks that it's not taking itself too seriously, like it's full of Martians, like come on, how serious can it be? But at the same time, I think it could be a surprise, because when I was flicking through, some of the cards look quite fun, like Grays, short, they are timid, misunderstood and shy. They look like the typical aliens that you would see in 80s, 90s movies, this with like the big head, etc. But then you kind of go through the images and you have this card that's like shadow self, denial, projecting, shame. And that sounds quite serious and quite deep, so I was quite pleasantly surprised in that sense. I thought maybe it was going to be very light-hearted, fun deck, but some of the keywords are more hard-hitting, it seems. I do really like sci-fi, however, I'm not a huge fan of the whole starseed concept. It's just not something that resonates with me. So every time there's something like Pleiades or Andromedans and things like that, spiritually speaking, I don't resonate with that. It's just, you know, everyone, each to their own. If you like that, no judgment at all from me. It's just not something that I personally ever felt called to explore or anything like that. So in that sense, I'm not sure that actually this deck would be for me. So I'll have to see a flip through for that. I did think the concept was really cool and unique. The fact that it also comes with a 120 page book, substantial. So I thought that was an interesting release. Like I said, not sure it's for me, but I wanted to mention it because I feel like a lot of you would potentially enjoy it. I'm gonna put this in the category Fantasy Lovers Rejoice. Okay, let's move on to our next release, which is the Wild Unknown Tarot by Kim Krantz. And this is actually the teen version. So the Wild Unknown Tarot is very famous in the tarot world. I mean, raise your hand if you have it. I think, you know, I can't see you right now, but I'm sure most of you are raising your hands, or a good handfuls are. It's because this deck is now very classic. I think it was one of the first decks modern decks that came out breathed a new sense of life into tarot. He was one of the first person, I think, that kind of did something unique with tarot, and that started the wave of creators doing tarot in a way that was inspired by their own prism, their own point of view, their own world. And so in that sense, I can totally appreciate her deck. I know a lot of people also don't like this deck. Some people feel like it's a bit overrated, but I really appreciate what Kim Krantz has done for the tarot world, because this was unique at the time when it came out. I enjoy The Wild Unknown, definitely a good one to check out if you are thinking about getting into pips but you just want to dip your toe into it, like you just want to get one toe, maybe two, into the world of non-RWS tarot decks where it's just less scenic, etc. This one I think is a good one, the Wild Unknown Tarot, because the cards feel like Minor Arcana feels more pipish. You don't have humans, there's not a whole landscape vibe, but you do have some animals, you have some striking colors, some symbolism that help you understand the meaning. For Five of Wands, you don't just get 5 wands, you have something else there on top to help you, but at the same time you don't get like a 5 of wands as illustrated as you would with, you know, artwork inspired by the Rider-Waite-Smith, for example. So this, I mean, the fact that they're releasing in a tin, I think it's quite clever, because I know that a lot of people love that deck, and I know that a lot of people love tin deck. You can show it in your bag, you can go camping with it, you can go to your office with it, you can go grocery shopping with it. Tin decks are super cool. I only have one, I only have the Aquarian Tarot, one of those that I can just shove in a bag and not think about. So I feel like that's a clever release, honestly. I'm not gonna get it because I already have the normal version, but I thought that was quite clever, and I'm sure that it's gonna be a lot of people picking it up. So let's put that in the same deck, different format, because that's what it is. Same deck, different format. And next. Okay, next up we have something that's actually very unique. I don't think we've seen that many decks inspired by that before. Hip Hop Queen's Oracle deck, which is a 52 card deck and guidebook that is coming out on November 23. We don't have any pictures yet, we just have the box at the time of me filming. This is by Monica Ahanonu and Katey Yandoli. I'm sorry if I've butchered your names, especially with the French accent on top of it. This actually could be very fun. I think there are some Oracle decks based around fashion, art, and music. I've definitely seen those before. There's like a whole franchise of them. The name escapes me, but I know that they exist. And so I think this could be very fun, especially for any lovers of hip-hop music. I mean, this is looks like it's gonna be all the classic, you know, hip-hop vibes from maybe 90s, 2000s, etc. Could be a great deck for any music lovers. I'm curious to see more. To be honest, until I see images, it's quite hard to make an opinion, let's be honest. But the concept is unique and different. And I like that it's a hip-hop queens, you know? I'll still watch a walkthrough out of pure curiosity, and I wanted to mention it out there in case some of you are hip-hop lovers. So this is, I think, is a perfect fit for category is modern day realness. And let's move on. We have the Real Talk Tarot 78 card deck and guidebook, Mystical Answers for a Chaotic World. And isn't it just a chaotic world? This is by Juanita Londoño Gaviria, and this is coming out, I think this has recently come out, I think mid-October. It's in stock now, so fairly new release. Even that this tarot deck is meant to look like you're looking at everything through your phone. It looks like it's very set in modern day, because for example on the Lovers we're seeing two people kiss, and there's little like button like you get on Instagram, maybe like planes and cars and phones and things like that. So definitely a modern one. I'm not sure how I feel about the phone borders, to be completely honest. I'm not already a huge fan of borders, let's be real, but on top of that, having a phone one, I usually, for me, associate my tarot reading for myself as a way to escape or as a way to go within, and so in that way I'm not sure I want to take my phone imagery with me. It is unique and different, I would say that. I don't think I've ever seen that before. The box looks like it's one of those that come in two different parts, which I hate. I really don't like those kind of boxes. I never know how to like put the decks out evenly. I'm something probably wrong with me. I always have to like push one on the side, push another one on the side, and then it's just a struggle. I know, very first world problem. I can appreciate the concept, and it from the few pictures we're seeing, it looks like it's gonna be like RWS inspired but with a twist. And finally, the backings are the kind of thing that turned me off a little bit because there's some writing on the backings. It just says Real Talk Tarot, and the image behind looks so pretty that honestly I feel like it would have looked so much better without it. I know from watching videos etc that there's a lot of us out there who don't really enjoy having like writing on the backings of your tarot cards, because when you do like pick a card readings, when you do readings for clients, when you do readings for yourself etc, whatever it is, you're looking at the backs a lot before you're looking at the front of the card, and you want the backs to draw you in, you want them to be inviting, and writing on it is just like, but I'm sure that it's gonna be appeasing to a lot of people, and let's be real, some of the cards look quite cool. I would have put that in my categories modern day realness, but we've already filled that in, so I guess I can't really fit it in anything, so we're just gonna be moving on right along. Next, moving on, we have the Monology Manifestation Oracle, a 48 card deck and guidebook by Yasmin Boland, and the artwork is by Lori Mena. So this is currently number 1 release in astrology, and it seems to be an oracle deck bit dedicated to manifesting according to the moon cycle. I'm not too sure that this release was necessarily needed, in the sense that Yasmin Boland already released an oracle before called the Monology, along with a journal, a book. Like, she has this whole Monology brand thing that's been going on for a while. I have her Monology oracle, and it's a really good oracle actually if you want to work with moon cycles, if you want to learn a little bit about what the moon means according to different star signs. Like if the moon is in Taurus, it's that. In terms of full and new moon, you get some nodes cards as well, you get some different moon phases. But in that guidebook of that deck, in the her Monology book as well, which I have read, she does tell you when to manifest what depending on the new and full moon. So honestly, in that sense, I feel like I don't need that deck, because I have that information in her books, I have that information in other different oracles about the moon etc. So for me it's like not necessarily needed. I'm definitely gonna be able to pass this one. I can imagine this one could be interesting for anyone who wants to learn a little bit about the moon and different star sign etc, and learning how to manifest in a reading. I'm not sure how you could bring that up. I do love my Monology moon cards and I have enjoyed using them, but I do find that depending on what reading I'm doing, it's a bit complicated to draw some cards. So how I tend to use them is actually I will pull out the cards based on the moon phase I'm in right now. So if it's the full moon in Taurus, I will look for the card full moon in Taurus, read the guidebook, journal about it, maybe put it on my altar, things like that. That's how I prefer working with this card. So I'm not sure how it would work in an oracle format for like manifestations. If you're supposed to follow the moon and it's currently the full moon in Leo, but you're like saying what should I manifest, and you pull out the new moon in Virgo, do you then not follow the moon and just follow your intuition and what you drew in the cards? Or do you still want to follow the moon? I might be overly complicated here, or is anyone following me? So for me, I'm not sure it's very necessary, and I'm not sure who needs it. Again, you can totally disagree, but because I don't really know what to do with this, I'm just gonna put who asked for this, because I'm curious, like, who asked for this? Okay, let's move on to our next release. It is a Taradec called El Taradec Millennial Loteria Edition by Mike Alfaro, and this is coming out on November 16 on Amazon at the time of me checking this. And by the way, I've used Amazon US. Sure that for all the decks that I'm mentioning that are mass market, you'll be able to find them on Book Depository, which is actually where I get my decks, because like I said, Amazon doesn't deliver where I live. This deck is interesting because it seems to be combining two different card games, the first one being Tarot obviously, and the second one being Loteria. And I had to, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Loteria, I've done Spanish for like a few years, but it was a while ago. Loteria, I think. And so Loteria, from what I understand, is a very Latinx popular card game, which from what I've read quickly seems to be kind of like bingo, but instead of using numbers, you use card with images. And I found that so cool, because obviously I love cards, right? The whole point of this channel. And I think that sounds really fun. And the fact that it's actually bingo, you know, we're playing bingo now with cards about tarot, it's like how meta. So I thought that was a cool concept. I didn't know what Loteria was. For me, in French, lottery is like when you pull the numbers and you can win big prizes. But apparently Loteria in Latinx community is actually a bingo style game played with card images. So that's kind of what I understood. Apparently this art creator mixed the concept of Loteria and the concept of Taradec, which I guess if you are Latinx or, you know, from the Hispanic community, things like that, I think that would obviously speak to you more. It might be something you're interested in. The deck in itself looks to be very rooted in modern day. So I just saw one of the images that said Queen of Bitcoins, and I'm guessing this is gonna be the Queen of Pentacles. And I don't know how I feel about that. I like modern decks, don't get me wrong, especially because usually it means that modern decks showcases more of the modern world. So usually, and I'm saying that with big, you know, like grain of salt, air quotes, etc., tend to show more ethnicity diversity, they tend to show more age diversity, they tend to show, you know, members of the LGBTQIA plus community or differently abled people, etc. Like that is usually more the case for modern day decks. This one, I'm not sure because there's not many cards out. And then the other cards, we just have the Moon and the Three of Swords, and there's not much there for me to make a decision. The concept is cool. Obviously, I am now very intrigued to have a look at what Loteria really is, maybe watch some YouTube videos about it, because the concept of a whole card game that I didn't know about, that's exciting to me. I find that interesting. But in terms of actually using the tarot deck, I'm not sure. And from the images, I can see that the backs have the name of the deck on it, and we've talked about that before. I can't do it, so I don't know, I'll have to watch a flip through. This is not really calling me out for now, but I wanted to mention it because that might be something that really calls to you, especially if you played Loteria with your grandparents or your parents or whatever. Like that might be something that super calls to you. I think this would totally go in category is modern day realness, but we've already filled that in. We're just gonna have to move on and go to the next deck. It is beautiful. Oh my god, I'm so excited. I looked at those images and I was like, oh my god, like very beautiful. This is Messages from the Ancestors Oracle Cards by Stephen D. Farmer. This is an oracle deck that is coming out on November 30, 2021. Again, at the time of me filming this, things could be changing. This deck, obviously from the title, looks to be very inspired by ancestral energy and, you know, your ancestors. I'm guessing maybe from what I'm getting, it's not just like lineage ancestors, but also maybe ancestors of the land, ancestral energy in general, so like the elders, you know, crone energy, that kind of vibe. But it also looks to be very rooted in nature, because the first card I saw was this Earth card. Beautiful, look at this Earth card. And then we have the Mentor card with this beautiful mountain here. And then the next one I saw was this Mother card, which is beautiful. I'm loving that. The artwork looks stunning. And then there's actually a artisan card, which totally speaks to me because my mom is an artisan. She creates jewelry. It really resonates with me, this idea of craftsmanship. This is something that is very rooted in our family. You know, there's just this kind of very rooted lineage on my ancestral line of making things yourself. Called to me, this particular card. But most of this artwork looks gorgeous. So honestly, I need to see a flip through of this deck because, like I said, I'm definitely no longer buying a deck without seeing every single card. I mean, this is why we love the YouTube walkthroughs, the YouTube first in like unboxings, etc. I like this because I want to know what I'm getting before I'm spending my money. So I'm really grateful for all those YouTube channels out there who get out there, get the new decks and show it to us, because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't know what to buy and I wouldn't want to bite the bullet in case, like I said, 3 months down the line, 4 months down the line, when I do get my deck, there's one card or two that I don't like. I have previously in the past, when I was getting into Tarot and Oracle, bought a deck without seeing it, and even a couple of Kickstarters have done that. For the Kickstarters it's been fine. For the mass market ones, sometimes it's led to some regrets, and so I'm not doing that anymore. This one I'm definitely gonna wait till it comes out. Very excited to see more. For me, this is gonna be in the category Take My Money, because right now this is very much calling my name. Next, we are now moving on to the few indie decks I wanted to mention. Like I said in the intro, I didn't want to include a Kickstarter because I'm really not confident in my editing abilities to be able to do it quickly, and also with like my recurring health problems that I'm having at the moment. There are some days when I can't really sit up and I can't really like stay on the computer for too long. I don't want to give myself stress to make sure that I have to push this out in case you're gonna miss the Kickstarter. But I did find some new indie decks releases that I wanted to mention that are directly sold from the website of that creator, which I will put those websites in the description box, because for any indie decks it is so important we buy them directly from source so that we avoid fraud, fake decks, etc. Because if you're paying indie deck money, you want to make sure you're getting the real deal, right? So the first one I want to mention is one that is, the pre-sale is happening on the 31st of October. The orders will run from October 31st to November 30th. So the pre-orders are running from the end of October to the end of November. And I should tell you what this is first. This is called the Smoke, Ash and Embers Tarot, which is by 3 Trees Tarot, which is so hard to say, by the way, with the French accent. So 3 Trees Tarot has already released as a company. They did the Oak, Ash and Stone Tarot, which was an indie deck that came out last year, an animal deck that is beautifully illustrated, that was all based around woodland creatures, squirrels and such. I don't have that deck because I have my fair share of animal decks. I didn't feel like I needed this one. But they are actually making another like edition of another added volume in their world, and this one is going to be particularly dedicated to dragons. And actually I really want to thank the person who wrote in my comment box that told me about this deck, Painted Turtle. Thank you so much. It's thanks to you that you let me know that this deck was going on, because we seem to be both dragon lovers and I really like dragons. I actually showed a dragon oracle in a recent deck haul, and so I did mention then that I love dragons, and then this person told me that there was this indie release coming out for this dragon deck, and so thank you so much, because thanks to you I'm able to have a look, and I am so excited about this deck. This one I'm literally like, I've got my debit card at the ready and I'm like, please let me pay for this. I want it now. I'm so excited. I love dragons and this looks beautiful. This is not like your stereotypical like fierce dragons, even though I love those kind of dragons. When I work with dragon energy, I really like it as a symbol of courage, of passion, of fire. You know, I'm an Aries, I'm a Leo rising, like I have a lot of fire in my birth chart, so dragons resonate with me for that. But those dragons like they're in dragon school, getting ready for, you know, dragon life. They are like the cute baby dragons, like getting ready in woodlands, growing slowly but surely, doing their thing so that later on they're ready to become those fierce badass dragons that we know and love. And I am so here for that. Not only is it beautiful artwork, but it's actually eco-friendly, which I love that. It's all printed in England. I think the printer is really mindful of their ecological impact, etc. So that's something that I really appreciate. And I mean, it has dragons. That's it. I'm sold. Give it to me now. So this is absolutely going into the category Take My Money. But I think we've already filled that in. So I guess we're gonna have to move on to the next one. It doesn't give us any point, but best believe this is one I'm literally counting the days now. This is Smoke, Ash and Embers, and this would have been Take My Money, but we've already used that, so next. Okay, I thought I was done with the indie deck, but there is one more. We have one more to talk about. Is a French deck. I couldn't be helped. I had to do it, okay? Don't come for me, don't cancel me, don't unsubscribe. I'm French, I like to rep the French decks, I like to rep the French artists, and so of course I had to include a French release. And this is called Le Tarot de la Sorcière et de la Roue de l'Année by Bérangère Desmoncy, and I think this is coming out mass market. This is coming out mass market, and it's due to come out on the 10th of November. Let's see if there's any delays, but you should be able to find it when it's out on Amazon.fr and things like that. And this looks so beautiful, but there's not that many cards out. But from what I'm seeing, I'm very interested. So this is one I have a huge eyes out. This deck, Le Tarot de la Sorcière et de la Roue de l'Année, which you know is a mouthful. This is translated to the Witch and the Wheel of the Year Tarot. So as you could have guessed, this is a very witchy deck. This is inspired by the Wheel of the Year. This is gonna be inspired, I'm guessing, by the craft, witchcraft. There's bound to be some links to seasons and things like that. So this is for all of my witches out there, and because it's a tarot deck, you're not gonna have any problem even if it's in French, because you know we use the same system, like the moon is the moon, the sun is the sun, and you can just use the numbers and the images to figure out what it is, even though you don't understand the title of the card. I feel like it's easier to use French tarots than French oracle if you want to get decks that are in another language, for example in French, purely because with tarot we have the same structure that we know and love. This is a black and white deck and it looks so beautiful. The line work is what really drew me in, and like I said, on the images on the websites that I found, there's not that many images out, but then I found some extra ones on her Instagram and it just looks really beautiful. I don't have a ton of black and white deck. This one looks like it's more fantasy / witchy, which I don't have any that are black and white, so does that mean I can get it? Maybe. I'm tempted. I'm definitely keeping an eye out on that, and I really wanted to mention it because honestly some of those images, the ones that are out, look amazingly beautiful, very detailed, and it's a French deck. I had to do it, okay? I could put it in the dark and moody category. Technically, I don't think it's gonna be a very moody deck, but maybe it's dark because it's about witches, so is that cheating? But then it's my channel, I do what I want, right? So I guess we're gonna put it in the dark and moody category, not because of the moody factor, but more so because of the fact that it looks very, you know, witchy, witchcraft, etc., and the black and white. So we're gonna go with that, dark and moody, and let's move on. So moving on to another indie release. So this is the Outgrow Yourself Oracle and Tarot by Acta Spaman, and spoiler alert, I already bought it. So you know this is gonna go in the I've already bought it category, but let me tell you why I bought it. Firstly, I saw those backings, and the backings have those kind of hands with eyes in them, and I don't know what it is about hands, but I've already think I've mentioned that on me showing you like the beginner oracle and things like that. If there's a lot of hands, usually I'm all about that, apart from the Cosmo Tarot, because we've already discussed that. Just no. But this looks beautiful. So already I was like, cool backing, let me have a look at more cards. I started to see some images pop up on Instagram, and then I saw a couple of YouTube content creators like doing a flip through of this deck, especially one French content creator that I really like watching. We have similar taste in tarot and oracle decks, and she published a review of this deck that she got, and I was like, wow, I need that in my life. So I literally watched the flip through and I bought the deck. I haven't received it yet because, as I mentioned many times on my channel, things take a very long time to get to me, but when it does come, you best believe I should be talking to you about it because I am so interested and so excited. So this is actually can be used both. It has 78 cards, I think, so that you could use it in a tarot, in the sense that there's a major arcana, there's minor arcana, but on every other card, apart from the title of that card, so like the Empress, you also have a key phrase, and so in that way you can use it as an oracle. I'm not sure that I would use it as a tarot because this is very much based in Thoth system. I think, you know, you have the Eon, and you have like, instead of your court cards being like page, knight, queen and king, you have the princess, prince. I'm not familiar with Thoth yet, so I don't know it on the top of my head. This is definitely inspired by Thoth more so than RWS, and like I said, I'm not familiar with Thoth yet. It's something I do want to learn. I actually have a course that I subscribe to that I haven't had a chance to check out yet. Health issues and life and pandemic and, you know, just generally trying to make it through 2021. But it's gonna be my 2022 goal. So for now, when I do get this deck, I don't think I'll read it as a tarot, but as an oracle. Just already like the sentences on the images really resonated with me, what I saw. Like we have one right now that's like, trust your tools. For the magician, I love that. For the high priestess, the message is your voice will guide you. I really like those things and I really fell in love with those. On top of that, the artwork is totally up my street. I think it's a self-portrait, so this is actually the artist depicting herself in lots of different ways, and it's like you're watching them experience life through 78 different cards. Obviously it's not self-portrait in the sense that it's an exact representation. It doesn't look like a picture of a real human being, but it's just that character. I feel like I could also see myself in the cards, if that makes sense. So I really fell in love with that, and I'm so excited to get this deck. It's definitely going in the category of I already bought it, because girl, I already bought it. Another indie tarot deck that is kind of going around lately, that's been released I think in October or fairly recently, and it seems to be going around on YouTube videos and it's starting to appear on Instagram, etc. So I wanted to mention it as a new release, is the Chubby Bun Tarot by Shuffle Tarot, and you can find them on Etsy, and it's called, so yeah, Chubby Bun Tarot version 2. So I'm not sure, I guess there was a version 1, but it seems, I don't think it's been out for that long because I'm only seeing reviews etc. appear now. Shuffle Tarot, I believe they're based in Asia, and I believe they have quite a few different decks such as the Shuffle Tarot, which is a very cool RWS mix where they have taken imagery from different cards and put it as one. So find characters in imagery where you wouldn't expect. So you might find the Queen of Swords sitting in the Empress throne, or you might find the Fool hanging out in the Four of Pentacles decor. That deck looks so interesting to me, and I think they have two versions, A and B. I think they also have the little Buddha tarot, a little Ganesha tarot, so they have quite a lot. But this Chubby Bun tarot I think is fairly new, and it's pretty much a very cute bunny inspired deck. Literally just little bunnies hanging out in the RWS settings. That's what it is. It's honestly an RWS clone with lots of bunnies. It looks cute as fuck. I'm not gonna lie. I think it looks super cute. Those little bunnies, like the two of cups, there's a big ass carrot hanging out instead of the cups. I love that. Of course, in the Seven of Cups, one of the options is like a cups full of carrots. I mean, that's just super cute. The backings look really cute as well. They're reversible, very pastel colors. Like the kind of decks that are just like there to not take themselves too seriously, maybe perfect if you have young adults, kids, etc. This looks like it would be non-threatening. I mean, check out all the cards, but the only thing that is like putting me off is the price of the shipping. The decks are $47 and shipping I think is $39, so it's almost as much as the actual deck to get it shipped, at least where I live. I guess it's because it's shipped from somewhere in Asia that the pricing is so expensive, but honestly that's what's stopping. But if you wanted to get more than one deck from them, considering that there are definitely different decks out now, you might consider checking them out, because maybe if you get more than a deck then the shipping is worth it. So even though this is super cute, this is not necessarily the kind of deck I'm gonna go for, purely because I've just recently ordered the Happy Tarot, and I didn't have that deck, and I've been kind of eyeing that deck for ages, and I thought I was feeling kind of down, and so I was like, you know what, I kind of want a happy deck. And then I realized that I had the Happy Tarot on my wishlist for so long that I wanted to treat myself to it after feeling slightly down. So I haven't received it yet obviously, but it feels like it's gonna go in a similar way. You know, the Happy Tarot looks super cute, super childlike, super happy, and this is giving me similar vibes, even though in that Chubby Bun it's not actual kids, it's little bunnies, but it would fit in the same category in my tarot library. And right now, until I actually get the Happy Tarot and work with it, I don't really need another cutesy deck. But I mean, I'm sure this is gonna be very pleasing for anyone who wants like that kind of vibe, who's looking for a cute deck. This has to be in the cute AF category because it is cute AF. This is it. I think we've hit bingo. We have one line. I hope that you enjoyed this way of talking about tarot releases. I hope you enjoyed the bingo part. I hope it wasn't too confusing. Let me know if you prefer to play the bingo style or if you prefer to just do the normal tarot releases of me talking about it. Again, if there's any tarot YouTubers out there and you want to participate in the game, let me know in the comments down below and I can put my bingo card on PDF. Absolutely, I'm fine to do that. Also, let me know in the comments down below if, according to the bingo card, there's anything you would like changed, added, or etc. Any theme you think I didn't cover. Obviously we couldn't fit all of the different theme today. We're gonna have to see what comes up every month or every month and a half that I do that. I think every month is a bit like optimistic, maybe every month and a half, but let me know if you think I've missed anything on that bingo card. Of course, let me know if you agree, disagree. Are there any decks you want to pick up, any decks you don't want to pick up, any decks that are now on your wish list, any decks you've anti-hauled? Let me know everything in the comments box below. I love to hear from you, I love to discuss in the comments. And if you have made it this far, let's put in the comment down below bunny, because the last deck we talked about was the bunny tarot. So let's just put cute little bunnies. You can say bunny, you can leave the bunny emoji, whatever it is. Leave me a little bunny in the comments down below. It will let me know you've made it this far, and I will be so grateful. I really am grateful for everyone who sticks with me, who watches my video, watches my content, likes, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Until my next video, as per usual, I am sending you so much good vibes, and keep navigating the waves of your soul. Bye!